do you plan, or do you think you need to evolve your tagline, yourself as the ring announcer, as the UFC changes into the future?
You know, when you're on a rocket ship that's going up straight trajectory and you've got a first-class seat, you don't have to change anything. And automatically, being one of the few faces of the UFC, I will continue to do what I do and grow with the sport as the sport grows. It's an amazing position to be in, to be part of such a powerful brand, and yet to create my own brand within the brand, which has now become multifaceted outside that brand into many, if not all, areas of sports and entertainment, and be recognized for it. If you're a team player and you're not affected by other people's success, learn from it. Let it motivate you to be the best you can be, not by copying them, but by learning from them and adapting yourself to them.
I'm Garrett Wong, and this is the Investing to Win podcast. How do you define success, and what does winning look like for you? Have you ever wondered how one man's voice and one unforgettable phrase can build a global brand? Well, I just finished an amazing podcast with the legendary Bruce Buffer, the veteran voice of the UFC Octagon and the creator of the iconic phrase, "It's time." We talked about how he turned those only two words, into an unforgettable worldwide phenomenon, and whether he believes it made him a star or if he would have risen to the top anyways, and what would have happened if he ever decided to change it. If you're curious about how to build a brand that lasts and the secrets behind Bruce's massive success, you're in for a treat. Let's jump into this amazing episode with the one and only Bruce Buffer. Bruce, how are you?
Garrett, how are you? Nice to meet you and to talk to you on the interview. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you coming on the podcast. No, I saw you in LA, and lots to go over. I know that we don't have a ton of time here, but there's been so much I've been researching about you that I didn't even know. Martial arts. I didn't know that you were into the poker and all of that. What I'd like to discuss today, though, is the phrase, "It's time," right? I know that you alluded to it on stage. I kind of heard the story, but I think my audience would really enjoy you kind of telling that story about how you came up with the catchphrase, "It's time."
It's time is something I used to say to myself every single day. And in the morning when I would wake up, for showers or whatever, then looking in the mirror after shaving, and I'd kind of be like, it's time. It's time to be the best I can be. It's time to have a great day. And I always thought that was my motivation, along with anything else that I did. And when I started announcing, I wasn't phrase driven because I didn't want to be considered copying my famous brother, Michael Buffer, for "Let's Get Ready to Rumble," which is, one of the most famous phrases in the world. And I wasn't phrase driven. It wasn't to me what I said, it's how I say it. So I concentrated on that. But about 7 years in, I noticed that, as Michael did when he was starting out, when you're announcing the judges and the referees and, all the people before you announce the fighters, you're kind of taking the wind out of the fight, of the main event. And I wanted to bring the excitement back in. And that's when I started building with, the moment you've all been waiting for, live from Sydney, Australia, whatever. It's time, 5 rounds. And I started doing that. And that was about 7 years into my career. Now, I've been doing this for 29 years come February. And at first it wasn't as refined as it is today. It was different. And if you look at the way I've announced over the years, the tool has gotten stronger, it's gotten different, it's gotten more mature in the way that I do what I do. And it's developed into what it is today. And it's become, I'm very proud to say, a very popular and strong brand around the world. And people, I make business deals, with people licensing it. And same thing managing my brother's career for the last 30 plus years with "Let's Get Ready to Rumble." I've applied the same principles to "It's time."
Yeah, no, I don't think there's a main event that would be the same in the UFC without hearing that. And you're welcome. You mentioned just the changes. I mean, Dana White is evolving and changing the UFC faster than we can even blink. How do you see your evolution of yourself and even that tagline as the UFC evolves?
Give me that one question one more time.
Well, Dana White, right, is changing. He's evolving the UFC fairly quickly. We always see these different things. How do you plan, or do you think you need to evolve your tagline, yourself as the ring announcer, as the UFC changes into the future?
When you're on a rocket ship that's going up straight trajectory and you've got a first-class seat, you don't have to change anything. the rocket ship can change and grow and automatically being one of the what's considered to be one of the few faces of the UFC. I will continue to do what I do and grow with the sport as the sport grows. It's an amazing position to be in, to be part of such a powerful brand, and yet to create my own brand within the brand, which has now become multifaceted outside that brand into many, if not all, areas of sports and entertainment, and be recognized for it. So what I always tell people is you work from a base. My base is the octagon, and everything branches out of there, just like I did with my brother Michael managing him, where the base was the boxing ring, and it grew there.
So chicken and egg then, I know you had mentioned it's the way you deliver the phrase. If you hadn't evolved it the way it is, do you think you'd be where you were today?
I think I would be at a point where I was, but I think that the brand, and I think that the way that that's worked has allowed me to expand more. Instead of being recognized as hopefully a quality ring announcer, I'm recognized for the brand and what I do, and it gives me a very distinct style. It's like what I tell other announcers when they write me, sure, learn from others, but don't copy them. Develop your own style. So I think I would always have been recognized for the passion I put forward, the physicality, the mental passion I display. Hopefully people enjoy my voice, but the trademark definitely has helped expand it even more.
So I'm just going to be devil's advocate here. What do you think would happen if you decided to change it?
I wouldn't.
Just that simple. It's so strong that that's
no reason to change it. The only time I would ever change it is if I'm hired to do work for a company and they ask me to paraphrase it.
Right.
Now I'll give you an example. Like it's Ford time, it's Rolex time, it's whatever. It's time for this, it's time for that. I'm always honest, but if you could give me, you can give me any line you want, and I can put it's time in front or behind it and make it work. And if I can't, I'll give you $500 before the end of this interview. I'll pay you right now.
I don't want to take you up on that challenge.
No, you don't have to pay me. I'm saying I would pay you.
Oh, no, no, for sure. No, it's such a strong brand. And that's what for me being in real estate with JT Fox, he's all about branding. Where do you think the future is of the ring announcers and how can they survive in I imagine it's pretty competitive trying to just make it to even a quarter of where you are right now.
Well, it's, the entertainment industry is not easy to make it in as far as being a ring announcer. There's not a lot of work out there. I mean, there's different promotions that open up. If you can find yourself inside yourself with a promotion and grow with the promotion, and hopefully the promotion is marketed right and correctly, then you can grow with that. I mean, try to get as many reps and different jobs as you can until you find an absolute home or a sport where you're considered like the person for that sport, whether it's boxing, soccer, mixed martial arts. You got to find your home and what you best represent.
No, very true. You mentioned that you would never change the catchphrase, and that speaks to me that you're very consistent in your branding. You've done a lot of different things, though, right? Video games, poker. What is your approach to keeping that brand consistent amongst all different types of things besides the ring?
Well, keeping consistent is not to change it, right? You adapt it to the sport that you're in. If I'm announcing a Las Vegas Raider football game, I'm still coming out and doing my It's Time and adapting it to the team I'm introducing. If I'm coming out and introducing the Formula One race, the F1 race, like I did a few weeks ago in Vegas, I still use my template of getting people excited, but then I adapt it to the fine athletes that I'm introducing at that moment.
Okay.
So,
and then
you don't want to be boring. You want to be exciting, but you want to be not changing it too much where it's like you're all over the place. It's like, here comes Bruce Buffer, here comes Michael Buffer. People know what to expect and they get excited for the event. Okay. Even if I walk out of JT Fox's branding seminars.
So it's about picking a brand, sticking with it, making sure that you are giving the people who expect of something from you, if I could paraphrase that.
Yeah, that'd be a way to put it. It's Coca-Cola is not going to change its brand, right? Nike's not going to change its swish. They're going to change the shoes. They're going to change the clothes, but it's still going to have the swish, right? So branding is when you're recognized for what you do and you build the strength of that brand, adapting it to the areas in which you work.
Okay. Okay. So, Bruce, speak to me about maybe even legacy. I mean, 50 years, we're both going to be not on this earth. What do you want to be known for when people think about the name Bruce Buffer?
I want to be known that respected for my image, respected for that I always gave it my all. You know, I want to be respected for being a good person and for being the best in my field at what I do. And just know that I excited people. It was memorable, and respect. Respect is the biggest thing. You know, making money is great and everything, but nobody needs to know the money I make. It's about being respected as saying I'm a one of a kind. I stood on my own. You know, I wasn't one of many. I was an individual. And then it was obviously recognizable that I took pride in what I did and enjoyed everything that I did because of the passion I have for what I do. Because I live with passion. Passion is very, very big with me. You know, when you can be passionate about what you do and monetize it, then you're in the best position of work environment you possibly can be, if not your own private life.
You know, JT talks about branding, obviously, but also about giving value to relationships. What is your view on relationships and the value that you obviously bring by doing these types of spots, but also what I've seen you do for JT?
Well, relationships are strong. You surround yourself with positive energy, positive relationships, and people that want to see you succeed. I even want to see my competition succeed. Competition breeds success, and success breeds competition. So I have no problem with everybody succeeding, right? I like it. And I like to help people be the best they can be, both health, wealth, happiness, and monetary return. So if you're a team player and you're not, affected by other people's success, learn from it. Let it motivate you to be the best you can be. Not by copying them, but by learning from them and adapting yourself to them, if that answers your question.
It does. No, I think I value relationships more than anything, which is why I've been so drawn to JT and what he's been teaching me. Speaking of relationships, can you give the audience a few snippets? I mean, everybody knows you guys are brothers, but maybe people don't know that you were only, reunited, I guess, or reconnected in 1989. What was that like to find out from your dad? And,
it was, when boxing has always been something I've watched with my father out of the womb. I know you've probably seen a lot of interviews with me talking about this, but when I saw him on TV and I saw the last name and being in the telemarketing business I was in, I never saw my last name in a phone book. And then I see it on TV and I'm like, who is this guy? And then over the course of a year and a half, I'm getting stopped in the streets by people asking me, is that your brother, the guy that goes, let's get ready to rumble? I go, no, my brother's Brian, who I grew up with. And then my dad admitted to me that during World War II, when he went overseas, he got married beforehand. I never knew that. He was married to my mom for 57 years before he passed away, give or take. I never knew he was briefly married for 9 months when he went overseas and he came back and a divorce ensued and a child was born. And as things happened, the last time he saw that child was when he was 2.5. And it was Michael Buffer. And Michael was raised by foster parents under the name of Huber in a Leave It to Beaver lifestyle, very good upbringing, as he puts it. And when he went to the Army at 20 during the Vietnam War, they said, you're not Michael Buffer, you're not Michael Huber. He was raised under the name of Huber. They said, you're Michael Buffer. That's on your birth certificate. Had that not happened, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today for doing what I do, because I got into sports and entertainment when I met my brother. And again, 4 years later, I started managing his career. I was making a lot of money in business. I was burned out of my business, and I sold the companies and quit with the money I had in the bank to become his manager and his business partner and to create everything we created together. It's an
incredible,
amazing story. That's why my book, It's Time, which is also released you're in Australia, right?
I'm actually in Canada.
Oh, you're in Canada. Yeah, it was released in Canada too. So I tell the whole story here. It's not on the shelves in the bookstores, But you can get on eBay or whatever, get a used copy for a few dollars. But I really go into big detail there. I'm not making any money off any books sold.
No,
I'm just saying if that's of any interest to really go in depth into my whole life story.
absolutely.
I really had a great time writing that book.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely check it out. Final question. I like to actually ask this to every guest on the podcast. This is the Investing to Win podcast. How do you define success, and what does winning look like for you?
I define success on starting something, setting a goal, and achieving it. Whether it's monetary success, personal success, happiness, or all of the above, hopefully all of the above. I'm a very big goal setter, prioritizer, and monetarily speaking, I set my goals realistically, right? It's one thing to say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to make $1 million, but if you haven't made $100,000, you don't know what it's like to make $250,000. You haven't made $250,000, you know what it's like to make a half. Don't set unrealistic goals for yourself. Set very realistic goals for yourself, and then go on to the next goal and the next goal with an ultimate goal in mind. But success is achieving your goals, being proud of yourself, being respected for what you do, and in the world that we live in, making money when you're talking business, having a monetary return for what you do. But you also got to realize too, is this for you? If it's not for you, you got to learn when to pick up your chips and find another game, as they say in poker.
All right. Well, that's a great place to wrap up. Thanks again for honoring me with this interview. Love what you're doing, and I will continue to be a fan forever. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Garrett. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all your respect and your kind words. It means a lot to me. I really do respect that and appreciate it very, very, very much.
All right.
And I'll see you in the UFC in Canada.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Okay. Thanks, Bruce.
Thank you so much.